name is Mahen Bala. I'm a documentarian who's practicing mainly in Kuala Lumpur. Growing up in Malaysia is this really overwhelming experience because you're exposed to so many different things, so many kinds of flavors, and not just the food, but the people that you meet, the places that you go to, the things that you experience growing up. So very different from what you get growing up in other countries. The latest project that I'm working on is a long-term documentation of the oral history of our railways. So whenever we think of the railway lines, we don't only think about our own country, but we also think about our neighboring countries and how we are all connected by this steel thread. This is one thing that binds all of us together, a shared history and literally a shared physical thing. The line is there. My direct relationship with the railway started with my mother, who used to tell me all these stories about how she grew up in the railway quarters in Gemas. The interest with also the railway stories began when I made an effort to just bring my mom back to Gemas. And that was her first time going back to Gemas and visiting her hometown in 40 years. And the saddest part was that most of the railway quarters by then had been demolished to make way for the new tracks that were coming in. So imagine going back after 40 years and seeing everything just change. A huge part of your childhood feels as if it has just been ripped away. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's so important for us to be looking back and constantly being very curious about all the little things, all the little elements that makes up our own identity. Everything will change. We will come to a point where we will stop and we need something to look back on. And if we don't document it, then we have nothing. We have memories, we have things that we remember, but memory isn't always very reliable because we need to find our roots. We need to find some way of being rooted. And if we don't have this, if we are not interested in our own history, then we really run the risk of just losing our path. And if you don't know where you're coming from, it's very hard to figure out how you're moving forward.